The very future of the Metropolitan Police is in doubt tonight after a damning report found it to be institutionally racist, misogynistic and homophobic. Britain's biggest police force was labelled broken and rotten to its core and has suffered a collapse in both public trust and support. The report by Baroness Louise Casey was commissioned following the outrage and shock at the rape and murder of Sarah Everard by Met officer Wayne Couzens. It found many other women were let down, including those serving in its own ranks who face routine sexism. It listed shocking examples of discrimination, misconduct and abuse of power stemming from a deep-seated boys' club culture. And Baroness Casey warned that if a number of key changes are not made, the force could be broken up to make improvements. Here's Sejal Carrier on the Met's darkest day.
Wayne Couzens and David Carrick, two of the most heinous criminals to wear the uniform, but they were far from alone. Face after face of those we should trust, but all of these Metropolitan Police officers have been convicted of crimes since 2021. In a force that's also guilty of institutional misogyny, homophobia and racism, branded as being rotten to the core, unable to police itself. And tonight, no guarantees there aren't more rapists and killers hiding in its ranks.
The system is failing. You should take seriously that your rank and file cannot be guaranteed to have integrity. You should take seriously that victims, women, vulnerable victims, children, the people we're supposed to protect above and beyond anybody else, you can't guarantee it and you don't do it. And then on top of that, you run an organisation where discrimination and prejudice is writ large.
Her report paints an excoriating picture of the force, who, it said, underprotects and over-polices black communities, who are more likely to be stopped and searched, handcuffed, battened and tasered, that has allowed predatory and unacceptable behaviour to flourish. Of rape, one officer told the review, the detection rate is so low, you may as well say it's legal in London. A force that has deep-seated homophobia within it. One openly gay officer said he'd seen messages where colleagues joked about stopping and searching him whilst off duty. He told the review, "I'm scared of the police. I don't trust my own organisation. I will vary the route I walk to avoid walking past police officers when I'm not at work." The boss, Sir Mark Rowley, has spent much of his 6 months as commissioner saying sorry for his force's failings, but he doesn't accept Baroness Casey's use of the term institutional.
I accept her diagnosis about the racism, misogyny and homophobia in the organisation, and also that we have these systemic failings, management failings and cultural failings. I understand her use of the term institutional. It's not a term I use myself.
Yet this year-long review condemns the systemic failures within the force too. Discrimination it found that was rampant across its ranks. One Sikh officer spoke of his beard being trimmed, another had his turban put in a shoebox, and a Muslim officer found bacon in his boots. And rape cases being dropped because DNA evidence was destroyed in broken fridges and freezers.
There are systemic and chronic problems with leadership and culture. And what we need to do is change the culture, change the practice and change the systems in place.
This is not the first report, and it likely won't be the last. The Met was described as institutionally racist after Stephen Lawrence's racially motivated killing 30 years ago. 2 decades later, another report into the murder of Daniel Morgan in 1987 found the Met was institutionally corrupt. These new findings not surprising to his brother.
The oversight of the police has been terrible for decades. You know, the answer to the Home Office, and the Home Office has been useless for decades. So it's not surprised that all of this has suddenly bubbled up, you know, after all these years.
Baroness Casey says all her recommendations should be implemented, including independent experts overhauling the force. Otherwise, it should be broken up if it cannot affect change quickly enough. Sejal Carrier, ITV News.